All right. I kicked Parker out. He was getting a little distracting. um, so we can see here we've come up with the formula for surface area of a pyramid. We said it's going to be the area of the base plus the perimeter times the slant height divided by 2. And that's because the perimeter, again, will catch all of the triangles within the shape all at the same time instead of having to find the area of just one triangle and then duplicating that. So it's just one way of doing it. If you want to do it the other way where you find the area and then multiply by the number of triangles, that's fine too. Um, the last thing we're going to look at here are these pyramids where what if we don't know the slant height? So here in our first example, the 4 meters that they're giving us, that's the height, not the slant height. So we need to know what is the slant height of this figure. That's what we've got to figure out. So if I think about, we know this is 4. We've got to figure out this part. And what's the base of this triangle going to be? So if we look at it from here to here, we know the whole pyramid has a base edge of 6. And if I went all the way across, that would be the same through the middle. But we're talking about just this section in from the center onward. And so that means that each half, each part has to be 3. So how could we find the hypotenuse or the slant height of that third side of the triangle? Guess what? You're not done with Pythagorean theorem yet. We could do our Pythagorean theorem, or in this case, this is our 3, 4, 5 triple. We've done this one quite a few times, but if you couldn't remember, you can do your 3 squared plus 4 squared equals hypotenuse squared. Remember, the hypotenuse is the one that goes by itself. So, and so then we would figure out that C is in fact 5. So we could work that out. And so I skipped some steps there. But so if we now know that the slant height of this, I'm going to erase all this extra stuff here. If we know the slant height, let me change the color. Try this one more time. There we go. The slant height is 5 meters. Can we now calculate the area of the triangle? So we're going to do our surface area is going to be the area of the base plus the perimeter of the base times the slant height divided by 2. So that's our basic formula. So first things first, can we calculate the area of this square base? Well, it's a square, so I sure hope we can. It's just 6 times 6. So this should be 36. Plus then, what's the perimeter going to be? That drives me nuts. Perimeter going to be of this base. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, or 6 times 4. So our perimeter is going to be 24, and then we calculated our slant height to be 5. So now can we put this all together and find our answer real quickly? And I sure hope we can, because this is some pretty easy math now. We're going to do 36 plus 24 times 5 would be 120, and then divided by 2 is going to give us 60. And so then our surface area is now just 96 meters squared. And there's our answer. So just have to know the slant height in order to be able to calculate it. So then for this last one, just basically the same thing. I just wanted you to have a second example of it so you could look at it. We need to know what is the slant height on that pyramid. So the height they give us is 12. The slant height is what we are trying to come up with. And the base edge, well, we can see that the whole thing is 10. So we need to cut this in half. We need to divide this because we only want half of that base edge of the pyramid. So here's our formula. Here's our issue. We've got to do Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 5 squared, that's 25, plus 144, that's going to be 169. And then we will square root both sides. So our hypotenuse, our value of c is simply 13. So that's come up with that. So you're going to see, we're going to try and keep these as much as we can to whole numbers so that they're easier to calculate with. But once we have that surface area, now we can just plug it on into our formula. So we're going to do our base area plus the perimeter of the base times the slant height divided by 2. So that way it's just a quick, easy formula and no extra math working on there. So the base, area of the base, it's a square, 10 by 10. That's an easy one. That's 100. Perimeter of the base, 10 is one edge, 10, 10, 10. So there's 4 edges, or 10 by 4, or 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, times the slant height, which we calculated to be 13, divided by 2. So last little bit, 40 times 13 is going to be 520, and then divided by 2 is going to be 260. And so then we can just add those two together, and our surface area should be 360 inches squared on that pyramid. And that's all we do. So it's a real quick formula. Just trying to come up with that. We were able to do that, and so use that formula and you can't really go wrong. The biggest thing you got to make sure you have is the slant height. If you don't have that, you got to do a little bit of extra work, but it's nothing we can't handle. So good luck completing your next assignment, and we'll come back and meet next week. See you then.